boys and girls, it's me, Miss Fowler. We are here to talk to you about your assignment for next term, and it's all about living history. It looks like this. What we want you to do is record all of the experiences you're currently having. So, what's it like to be in self-isolation? How are you occupying yourself? Has it changed the way you live your life? There is an explanation in the front of this booklet, and we want you to be actually making history right now. So a primary source of history, if you're studying history, you're looking at documents or artifacts from a previous time, and that's where historians get their information. One day someone is going to study us now and what everyone's been going through with COVID-19. So you have an opportunity to record your thoughts and become a primary source of history. Do you have anything, Miss Fowler? Okay.
No, I think that's a pretty good explanation. It's a scary time for us in the world, but if you think about it from a historical point, it's kind of exciting that
it is.
In 100 years, in 1,000 years, they will look back on this COVID-19 pandemic and the things that you record now. How was schools affected in Australia? How did kids in Australia's lives change? Your records that you keep now could be the things that they look back on. Videos
Absolutely.
you make, journals you keep.
How are your neighbours coping? Do you know anyone who's had to cancel a wedding, for example, and how's that made them feel? Yes, so do I. And there are so many social implications that everybody's life is affected. There's not one person we know who's not affected by this. But it's not a time to panic either, we know that, but it's a time to be safe and follow the advice. One thing that Miss Fowler and I talked a lot about yesterday when we were setting this is the expectation that we expect quality work. This is not something you rush. If you're doing your English and your maths every day and the rest of your time is dedicated to this and you turn in something quality, we're going to be so happy. There is a success criteria attached, and this will form a major part of your assessment in both classes. So if this isn't done, you won't have a good mark for history, straight up. So you need to really concentrate. The success criteria is outlined there for you. If you're working at, that's what the minimum really of what we expect everybody to achieve. And if you're working beyond, then you're doing more of those things. I would be planning. Now, I would be thinking about the kinds of things I'd be putting in my assignment. So we're just going to do a bit of a brainstorm now, and we haven't rehearsed this.
No.
So we're just going, what's in our heads?
But it's not a one-day assignment.
Oh, no
It's
way.
going to take you quite a few weeks because you're going to have to spend a fair bit of time even researching and planning before you even start making your artifacts. So you don't just sit down on one day, make a poster or write one journal entry and think, oh, I've done that assignment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can send your plan to us at any time. Our emails are on there, plus of course you've got Dojo with Miss Fowler. But all you have to do is, if your parents have got an iPhone or you've got an iPad, all you need to do, that's got a scanner in it. You scan the work and you can email it to me straight away, or to Miss Fowler, and we can have a look and give you feedback so you know where to go from there. If you want us to call you and talk to you on the phone about it, we're happy to do that as well, but you need to let us know. So what kinds of things, Miss Fowler, do you think you would include in this? Let's get some ideas going.
Well, I really liked your idea, Mrs. Hayes, about having a newspaper because if you did a newspaper, there's all different text types you can include in the one artifact. Like you can have diagrams, statistics, graphics. You could have letters to the editor pretending you are a doctor, pretending you are a farmer, pretending you are a business owner who's had to shut their shop. So you can look at all different perspectives. You can write articles.
I actually thought of one this morning too, is graphs. I mean, if people got the graphs each day of how the virus is going, whether it's spreading, whether we're flattening the curve, you've got all those statistics there and you can write an analysis about that. Because what we really want is higher order thinking. We really want you evaluating this information. This is your opportunity to be as imaginative, as creative, but also factual as you can be. And you guys have amazing brains, and we want to see what you can come up with. So what else did we have there? Descriptions even?
Descriptions, yeah.
Well, once
Just information pieces
Yeah.
by expert information.
you know, you could even have some procedures and things in there about how to wash your
Or
hands.
safety steps.
Yep. Okay, aside from a newspaper, I know Mrs. Robinson had an idea that she shared in the staff room, and she said she'd get the words of a popular song and rewrite it.
Oh, that was a creative one too.
Yeah, so we've got songs and poems.
And I bet online you've already seen heaps of different COVID-19 memes and rehearsed
They could
videos.
even create memes.
Yeah.
And do you know what I love is the some of the clever things people have been doing with the toilet rolls and making faces on top of their toilet. And if you haven't seen them, I'm sure your parents could help you Google some. And they've come up with some really interesting ideas for toilet paper.
Another opportunity to be creative that I thought of yesterday was in Minecraft, because I know a lot of you love using Minecraft, so you could do this on either normal Minecraft or download the Minecraft education app at home and create a COVID-19 town or world. So think, you know, what would your shopping centres have to be like when you're only allowed 2 people congregating together and you're not allowed to interact with each other? What safety measures would you have? What would your hospitals be like? What would parks be like? Would you have just individual little sectioned off areas, or how are you going to make this world?
That's almost one whole project on its own.
Yeah.
That's what we mean. Take this really broad, give us quality. If you only achieve 3 things, but they're very, very detailed and very creative and include lots of information, you've ticked the box. You don't need to give us 20 things that are half done.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And we do want to see research. So even if you're doing something
definitely.
creative like a Minecraft world, make sure you've got little signposts throughout your world that have the facts, explain what you've actually done. Like, I've built this park, I've built it in this way because, give a reason, which I know you can do that in Minecraft. And then you can send it in to us by either maybe giving us screen record like a video tour and send us the link to your video, or just do a whole heap of different screen captures and send us those. Yeah.
Yep, definitely. And the other thing that we talked about, and we can come, this is just our quick brainstorm now, you'll probably come up with more things. Ring your friends and do this over the phone. If you can work together but be in different homes, that's even more impressive. I mean, I know with Minecraft you can share, and
Yeah.
I'm happy for you to share projects. You might make a whole newspaper, but you might work with
A friend does the letter, and
Yeah.
a different friend does the information piece. Or
So you've got all that flexibility as well. And then there's interviews. One of the primary source that is always used for history are recordings of what people have said at the time. So, and this can be done on the phone. You know, how's your grandma going? How's your neighbour down the street going? How's your cousin who lives in Sydney going? Do you have someone in Perth? How are different people affected, and how has their life changed during this period? That's what we're interested in. So, what kinds of things might you ask someone in an interview?
I guess the first thing you'd want them to do in an interview is introduce themselves. So maybe explain their situation, like their age, where they live, are they a student, or do they have a job that they normally work in?
Yep.
Give a brief introduction.
And then there's people who've lost jobs.
Exactly.
I mean, like my own daughter's just lost 2 jobs. I'm very lucky that she, in Sydney, living with my parents, so she's not having to pay rent. She's one of the lucky ones, but she's got 0 income because she had 2 casual jobs and both those workplaces have shut. So there's lots of changes to lifestyle for people who suddenly don't have any money, which
Yeah,
they
exactly. So-
previously did. She has to stop buying all those socks on the internet, Miss Bella. Okay. So what else? Well, just, I mean,
So
obviously.
if they explain their situation, then you can obviously ask, how have you been affected by COVID-19?
And we've really got 2 types of effect. We don't need to make it a grammar lesson. But this one's more about how you're emotionally affected by something, and this one's about cause and effect. Because this happened, this now happened to me. So what actually happened, how did you feel about it?
Yeah, exactly. So you ask them how they're feeling, but then also how their life has changed.
Yep. Feelings and routines. Okay. I don't know too much more because we want you to do the thinking, and you're very clever people. But we will do some practice interviews for you that you can have a look at. You might want to do those as a transcript. I'll write this down. So that's just where you record the interview, like as in write it down, recording. You might do it as a vlog. You might do it as just, what else could they do it as?
Well, they could just do it
Just
as some
record
sort
it.
of video, that they, can get posted onto our
And if
webpage
you're
or
happy
our
for
dojo
us to
or-
share that, you send it to us and give us permission to share, and we would happily put that on our Facebook page, but only if we've got your consent to do it. So that would be one way to go. Okay. I don't have very much else.
No, the other thing I was just going to draw their attention to was on this back page where it has the success criteria and your rubric, just to make sure you know you're also getting marked on your planning and your research. So if you were going to do an interview, your planning would be you sitting down and writing down the questions you're going to ask that person. That's part of your planning. So keep those things as your evidence. They might be in the drafts, but they still get submitted.
That's fine. Planning doesn't need to be a work of art. We just need to see that you've done it.
If you're planning your newspaper, you might just sketch up and brainstorm all the things you're going to put in your newspaper. If you're planning a Minecraft world, you plan all the things you're going to include in that. So make sure you do keep those drafts and those plans and your brainstorms, because that's what's going to give you a good mark for that section. If you have minimal or no planning, we get scored as a working towards, and maybe you actually did plan it, but you just
But we've
didn't
got
keep
no
it, or you didn't
evidence.
send it in to us, or you sort of did it in your head but you didn't jot it down. So make sure your planning and the research that you do, you keep those research notes, you keep your information, so that when you submit your artefact, you've got evidence that you did do the planning and research.
Mrs. Smith, do you just want to come and say a quick hello to stage 2 and 3 while you're here? I'm sure you're missing
Wish them
by
luck
now.
on their
Pop in there.
fantastic assignment.
Hello, stage 2 and 3. I hope you're having a good time doing all your home learning and getting familiar with this new process. And you've got an assignment coming up, so yeah.
They really are living in history, aren't they?
Oh,
It's a-
definitely. This
Ground-
And
Groundbreaking
we've had to
time.
make lots of changes in our jobs, but for us, even though I said it's a time to worry but not a time to panic, it's a very exciting time to be an educator, because we've had to think about how we can deliver quality learning in a different way.
Yeah, we're being creative, just
We
like
are.
they have to be creative.
That's
That's
right.
right, and you'll be able to look back in years to come at how you've been able to adapt to this change in your
Remember
life.
that time when
Yeah.
we homeschooled for
Yes.
however long?
Okay, bye.
Thank you, everyone. I think that's it for today.